I am Janice B. Gordon. I'm here to talk to you about what it means to be customer-centric. And this is really about future-proofing your business, your company, your organisation. Customer-centric is really the only way to ensure that you do have a future and a sustainable growing future, and that's really the point of why we're all in business. So I help companies to grow their revenues and their customers, and one client alone I helped to grow their revenues in excess of 6 million in less than a year. And you know, I use all of these trainings that I'm giving you, I use them with the customers clients and companies that I work with. You know, I know it's really you having so much to do in your businesses and your companies. So I'm really here to make it easy for you, you know, easy for you to go further and do more and be better for your customers. And that's the point here. And so, you know, here on the Facebook Live session, Wednesday Wisdom, you know, I would love it if you share this with other people that really are committed to growing their business. You know, I really like to explain things in simple terms, using simple language to explain the tools and the terms. And so if you do not get it, you will not use it. So that's what I'm here to do for you today. So let me make it clear. Customer centricity is going far beyond being having a great customer service experience. It's far beyond that. It really is company wide. It's really about having wonderful experiences from way beyond the sale and way before the sale. It's really about when your customer first becomes aware that you even exist. That's when it really starts, and it's through to the process of purchasing for the customer. What is that experience like? And way beyond that to beyond the post-sale, it's really about building relationship. Being a customer-centric organisation, company, business, having that kind of mindset and thinking is really about looking at the whole process. Every interaction you have with your customers, even before they've purchased from you. And so Baines and Company, in their report on the delivery gap, found that 80% of the companies that they serviced thought that they delivered a superior customer experience, where the very same customers of those companies actually said that it was only 8%. So from 80 from the company's point of view to 8% from the customer's point of view is a massive delivery gap. And actually, a lot of companies assume that they're doing well. They assume their customers are happy, and it's only when they get a customer complaint they start looking at their systems and processes. Being customer-centric really is about having customers at the core to your business, in your business, really continuing to improve and evolve your business, and really having the customer's perspective at the core of your business. And so I'm going to talk to you more about why you absolutely must do this. Customer-centric organisations infuse the principle of positive customer experience, and they infuse it through their leadership, through their management, through their product development, through their services, through their after sales, through their marketing, through their sales, through every facet of their organisation. Really has a customer strategy, every single facet of their organisation. It's a whole company change experience, having that mindset, being able to clearly understand what they do, what you do for your customer. You know, companies like Zappos and Amazon, I know that Amazon's now purchased Zappos, but companies like them really have built their entire business model on their customer and the experience that they give their customer. And it's really about giving what their customer wants and really understanding their customer wants. This is a real critical success factor in their business, and it's really something that we can learn from. They've spent years and years and years crafting this, and we can model that in our businesses, in our companies, so that we can get there a lot faster using these companies as a model. In actual fact, Zappo will pay their employees to leave the company if they do not fit with the company customer-centric culture, which is huge. Paying your people to leave if they do not fit. That's how committed they are. So these are some of the strategies that you can actually use, but it's really about understanding the challenges as well. I'm just reading some of the comments that are actually coming through there. So really it's about understanding some of the challenges. And you know, we're in an economic downturn. There are lots of challenges, and what tends to happen is that company leaders, managers start to think short term. They think of survival. Well, that is contrary to being customer centric, which is thinking long-term relationship building. And so the two strategies do not fit. Customers are more selective about the brands and the companies that they choose to spend their money with. Of course, we know that. But companies that treat their customers with respect, giving the customers what they need, and building lasting relationships, must invest in a whole company approach to being customer centric. It's also important to note that the power is very much with the customers, and customers embrace new technologies, social media, social selling, all of these new things that are evolving. They embrace it a lot quicker than than companies. So companies are way behind the curve. So that's a real challenge. Also, mobile technology is becoming a major part of the customer journey, and so customers' expectations are even higher and more unforgiving as well. And speed is really more important than it has been forever, because you know, having the ability to respond so quickly with mobile technology. And then, you know, customers compare companies because of this mobile technology within seconds, and they respond within seconds, and that again is a real challenge for companies. So research has found that one of the key challenges within the companies, within your company, is that the data, the customer data and customer insights that you gain from the data isn't being passed around, isn't being communicated across the whole company. There doesn't really seem to be a need for that, an understanding of that. So, you know, data that's collected, it isn't turned into insights, and it certainly isn't shared. And this is one of the fundamental things that organisations, businesses must grasp hold of if they are to become a customer centric. So you think, well, why should I care? Why does it matter to me? You know, it's easier to start or grow a new business, a young business, to be customer centric, to actually have that as part of your business model, and to design all of your processes to be customer centric. It's so much easier doing it at the beginning than actually doing it with well-established companies and their cultures and changing them, you know. But there is a must, you absolutely must change them. You need to start thinking about customers and having them in your organization. So you need to be talking to them more often. You need to really be thinking about, you know, what all of your systems and processes, from what you do when a customer first gains insight as that you actually exist. What are your relationships with them? How are you communicating with them? How are you following up with them? It's really important to understand that all of these touch points are opportunities. They're real opportunities for you to gain traction with that that customer. And the more traction you gain with that customer, they're more likely to actually purchase from you. They're more likely, if it's a great customer experience, and that's why it's building traction, they're more likely to talk about you, more likely to share that experience with other people within their tribe. So it's really important to design all your systems and processes from the customer's perspective, and really important to understand, you know, what are your touch points within your organization, you know, what motivates your customers, what are their needs, what really drives them. So, you know, really understanding the customer's perspective is absolutely core to being customer centric. You know, companies that fall out of favor with their customers is because things that were relevant to their customers 2 years ago are no longer relevant, and companies, for the challenges that I've spoken about and why they're often behind the technology gap, or their perception of what they're delivering, the 80% is actually only 6%. They're actually behind the curve on this, and customers are way in power and leading the way. And if they're very far behind, they fall out of favor. Customers move on, and that's one of the key reasons why, you know, companies, businesses lose their customers, because they lose touch with their customers. You know, they don't really understand that things are constantly moving and evolving, and they need to keep in contact with customers, that the customers will keep them relevant and up to date. You know, even down to designing new products and services. I come across so many businesses, so many organizations that design a product and then start selling a product and haven't actually spoken to the end user ever. Can you imagine that? Large companies make this mistake as well. They have a new technology, new fun way of doing things, and someone comes up with a great idea. It's a great idea, but it's a great idea that nobody wants. None of their customers want it. It's not interesting to them. And so, you know, this is pretty fundamental. Being a customer-centric organisation means you don't waste your resources, you don't waste your time developing things that are of no interest to the customers at all and completely irrelevant to them. You will not even become in favour, let alone falling out of favour with your customers. So if this is, you've actually had an experience of this in a company you've either worked for, your company, you've made that mistake. A lot of smaller, medium businesses do that, and large businesses do that on a regular basis. I come across a lot of them. It seems obvious to me, you know, when I go in and I ask the companies, when was the last time you spoke to your top 20 customers? Who are my top 20 customers? I don't know. You know, what am I going to say to them? So often what I do is I go into companies and I set up those systems, those feedback loops within organisations to really help them with the challenge of technology, economy, you know, all of the things that are actually moving really, really fast. It enables them to keep you know, their tentacles out and really stay in touch with the way the market's moving, where their customers moving, where technology's moving. It's so important. These are the things that makes you as a company, as a business, as an operation sustainable. It future-proofs you. So it's really essential that you actually do it. You cannot afford not to do it. So, you know, like, I'd just like to ask you, has this ever happened to you? Do you know an organisation? You know, you can think of Blockbuster, that in lots of other organisations like that, Clinton Cards, where their business model didn't continue to evolve with the way the market was going, and now they're no longer in business. It's a real threat. Whether you're a large or you're a small organisation, it is a real threat. And it's about really having the mindset of your customer and having your customer at the core to your business. And why would you bother? Because if you want to have a business in the future, if you want to continue to evolve and grow, it's essential. Can you see? Show me some love. Let me know if this relates to you, and you can see. I'm just reading, see if there's any comments coming through. If you can see how essential this is, and how you absolutely must, yeah, just reading some comments as I go. Absolutely must, keep a tab of where your customer is moving. So I would like to give you some areas that you really need to be thinking about to analyse where you are. But I love Forrester's. Forrester's research company comes up with some really great research. So I use them as an example to kind of like demonstrate where we're at. And what they said is that there were 3 main pitfalls to organisations that are facing this kind of transformation, because most of the companies I talk to are not new companies, are not startups, they're existing companies, so they really have to take their organisation structure and change them. So this is a real challenge for them. So the 3 things facing the companies to become customer obsessed organisations or customer centric organisations is the lack of clarity. Real lack of clarity in that their employees really lack a clear understanding of what they need to do. And it seems obvious, really, but if you've always done things in one way, and you have all these meetings and talk about being customer centric, and then the employee walks away and thinks, well, and they continue to do what they've always done because no one's told them how to do it differently. No, they may not be customer facing and maybe not have a clear understanding of the things they do and how that impacts their customers. And just because you give them a talk about being customer centric doesn't mean they're going to change their actions, because no one's told them how they should change their actions. So this is a real problem, a lack of clarity throughout the organisation of how it impacts their jobs and what they need to do. The second thing is failure to get broad buy-in across the whole company. So that comes from the first one, a lack of clarity. You're not going to buy into something that you don't really understand. But it's really about all parts of the organisation. We often start with, sales and marketing because that's more kind of customer facing, and forget about, product development, or forget about even financing. One company that I worked with, they were doing multi-million-pound contracts, and so the sales and operations would win the bid, or with their proposal, build the relationship, and then it would go to the legal department of their company and they would lose it, or it would go to the finance department of their company and they would lose it, because the people in the back office have no understanding of what that end user, customer, department, client needs, and they're always doing things the way they've always done them. So it's important when you're thinking about being customer centric, it's the whole organisation and how it impacts the whole organisation. And then the third thing that Forresters talk about is a loss of interest. As we know with any change projects, what happens is, it's all gung-ho in the beginning, and there are some changes, you begin to see some results, and then you stop. And you stop before you've completed the entire process. And what happens if you don't complete the entire process? You don't go to the very end. What happens is that the things at the end start to unravel, the new changes, and they start to become undone. So it's really it's really important to keep the momentum, keep the energy up around the change, and not just stop with the first win. So they're the 3 things that Forrester says is a real challenge for companies in order to change their culture to become customer centric. But I'm going to give you, kind of 4 key areas that, I've devised around customer centricity that are really, really important. And the reason why you must do this is because you future-proof your business, your organization, your company. You future-proof it so that customers, you're relevant to your customers going forward as your customers continue to evolve and change. And so there are 4 powerful practices that you need to look at that really stand out regarding becoming customer centric. And they're 4 key areas, and one's about people, products, customers and processes. So they're the 4 key areas. So when I'm talking about people must be passionate. They must be passionate. That must come across through your organization, you know, like it's a crusade. And they must truly believe that, you know, customers are front and center to the organization. They must truly believe that. And so that's why I often call it a campaign, you know. So they must believe that without customers, and absolutely know without customers that they won't have a job, that it impacts them personally. This is the people thing, that they won't be able to pay their mortgage, they won't be able to go on holiday unless they get this right with the customer. So it really must impact them personally. It's really important to do that. And so one thing is about sharing data and insights across the whole organization. So the whole organization is in it together, because if you're getting information from finance and from the legal department or wherever it may come from, they're sharing that information with you, and you're in sales or marketing or product development, you really understand that you're all in it together. So that's really important. So the first thing is people. The second thing is around products, and this is about customers designing the products for you. I worked with an innovation consultancy and really got, you know, one of the projects I did, AOL, to really understand, you know, the customer's journey. And actually customers always find the shortcuts. They always find the best way of doing things. You may have designed it in a certain way and a customer will use it in a different way. That's why it's so important for you to stay in contact with your customer, really understand, you know, how they use, what the users do. And there are ways of actually doing that I'll talk about in another live training. But, you know, it's really about having your products and service as designed with the customer in mind, or even designed by the customer, which is brilliant. You know, asking your customer at every stage of the journey, involving them, really understanding these products and services are not for your business, but for your users, for your customers, for your clients. So you need them to be involved in the process. So then customers, this is really about customer centricity, is about the customer experience, the journey they go on and how much they enjoy it, and how easy it is for them, how quickly it is for them. It's really understanding the experience you're giving your customer. The reason why they're coming back is for the personality, for the experience. They're not necessarily coming back for the product. You know, most products are commodities, you know, you can get them anywhere, but the reason why they come to you is for the experience, for the personalities within, you know, the journey that they actually go on. It's got to be enjoyable, it's got to be fun, it's got to be easy, it's got to be fast, whatever is important to the customer, and you understand what that is. That's the customer experience that you're going to give them. And then the last one is about process, and it's really about being committed to the customer centricity of the process, really. And remember, I said it's about the whole organization, and whether it's, you know, legal, finance, whatever it may be, it's really about understanding and analyzing and planning and implementing every strategy you have with the customer in mind, and really having a customer strategy within all of those functions, and it's all linked up. So it's really important that your processes work for your customers rather than working for your business. Now remember, in last week, I think it was in my live session, I was talking about customer experience. I think I was doing inside out organizations, and I quoted Jeff Bezos of Amazon, one of the founders of Amazon, saying, you find out what your customer wants and then you develop the skill to provide it, rather than the other way around. You have a certain skill and then you develop a product for your customer. So that is core to their organization. It's a really different mindset, different way of thinking, you know, thinking that actually here you are as a business and you've got different resources within your business, but actually, you know, your resources are going to be honed to meet the customer's need. And if you don't have those resources, you buy them in, you bring them in, because you're all about meeting the customer's needs. And it's quite difficult for organisations to start to think that way, because you've built this structure, you have these resources, and then you want to use them all. Well, actually, some of them may not be relevant to your customer. And if they're not relevant to your customer, they're not important to your business. And it's about really understanding that. A report by Deloitte & Touche found that businesses that are customer-centric or have customer a core to their every strategy that they develop within their organisation was 60% more profitable than organisations, than companies without a focus on their customer, without having a customer-centric organisation. 60% more profitable. So, you know, there's a really strong imperative, you know, and outside of that, you know, having the additional benefits of, you know, really understanding your customers' needs as they evolve and change, you evolve and change with them, and future-proofing your business, you know, retaining your customers, keeping your customers happy, you know, having high satisfaction levels, you know, all of these things, low churn rates, means that your business is going to be more profitable. And that's the byproduct of being customer centric. If this makes sense to you and you think, actually, there's a lot I can do, you know, in my business, then make sure you continue to follow me on my Facebook page and sign up to these live trainings that I do, because I'm going to talk to you more about this, because I think it's so important to really understand about how your customer helps you to develop and grow and move, and how you can really bring them in to be core to your organisation. So look, there's no denying the importance, even more than that, how critical it is to be customer centric within your business, to have every single strategy in your business focused on your customer. What is the customer strategy, whether it's the accounts department, whether it's the finance department, whether it's just you, one-man business, what is your customer strategy? How do you onboard them? How do you continue to develop the relationship? What are you doing consistently? So, you know, whether it's large or small business, this is the thing that makes you future proof your business going forward. It makes you sustainable, makes you successful, and certainly more profitable. The research kind of stands up for that. So I will be taking you through each of those 4 powerful imperatives to being customer centric, which I talked about briefly. So it's people, it's products, it's customers, and it's processes. I'm going to go through those areas within your business that absolutely will enable you to be customer centric.